Who is Randy?
Don't bring anyone love into this.
Your mom in the fucking stand!
I tweeted out the other day, if you can pull that up, that that I think it's ridiculous that comedy clubs haven't raised what they pay the MC and the features across the country. It's been the same rate for over 20 years.
I know. Actually, you wrote the MC makes 100. I think they get less. I think it's 50.
No, I said if the clubs paid the MC 100.
Oh, say in the middle. Yeah.
Which is reasonable and easy.
Oh, right.
That it would change their lives. And for people who,
I know.
a lot of people weighed in, people who obviously have no fucking idea what they're talking about, which is my favorite, when they're like telling me how, I'm like, dude, you don't understand what you're talking about.
Right.
These are not people making $50 and $100 an hour.
Oh, no.
This is like something that they worked on for a long time. And like, keep this in mind. So the way that what I'm talking about is not the Comedy Store or the Comedy Cellar. It's the clubs that you go to when a comic goes somewhere for a weekend. Typically, it's a 3-person show. The MC is, or the host, the middle act's called the feature, and then the main act is the headliner. Across the nation for over 20 years. That
more.
rate.
Didn't this rate start in the 80s?
Well, no, in the 80s they got paid more.
Oh my God.
So, but for over 20 years, they've been paying the opening act $50 to host the show and the middle act $100. And of course, there's a huge sliding scale for the headliners. So let's just say that if you are a new headliner, you're not selling tickets, so you don't make as much money, but you get a living wage. If you're a big headliner, obviously you have a lot of draw. You get,
Lamborghini money.
Yeah, the part of the door. So what I'm talking about is like the MC in the middle are developing comics. They're people who are going to be headliners. They're and of course, yeah, they shouldn't make headlining money. But by not paying them even a reasonable wage, you cannot expect them to make a living, to develop, because they're going to have to get like 2 and 3 other jobs. And you can make the argument, well, that's what they should do. Well, I guess, okay, that's what they should do. But to be fair, everybody else at those clubs is making more money. You understand what I'm saying? From 20 years ago, the booker, the club manager, the box office people, the servers, the bartender, the cleaning crew, they all make more money than they did 20 plus years ago at that comedy club. The only people not making more money are the people on the microphone performing, which is why the place is open. So it's like it's time that those clubs just step up and pay them a little bit more. And by doing so, one of the, or two of those or a few of those comics will be able to maybe not have to get that other job and be better at comedy, which the comedy club benefits from. You end up raising the level of talent. Yeah. And the level of talent means there's more competition for great comics, and all of a sudden you have more great headliners that can sell more tickets. It benefits the entire business.
Yeah.
So it's just something that I felt like that for a long time. I mean, when I emceed shows at these clubs, I was making $50 an hour, and fucking 15 years later, the same people are making the same rate. It's like, come on.
Well,
man.
it's crippling too, because you have to go into such severe debt just to become a headliner, which you and I did. You put these flights on your credit cards to be a feature act, and then
here's the thing that like more to that point is like people were hitting me up. Why don't you pay people more? I'm like, wait a minute, we're not talking about me. I pay people extraordinarily well
that open for you.
For me,
correct.
I'm talking about. You're working that week at a club.
Yeah.
And
the club pays those acts.
The club pays them. And so it's not about like whether, I mean, yeah, people in my position can take care of who opens for them. I'm saying like, dude, you realize too that like while you're talking about, it's been 20 years, other things have changed. Like rent is way more. Flights, they don't pay for middles to fly.
I know.
So if you take the middle
crazy.
Week at the fucking Dayton Funny Bone, you get $100 a show. So you might have 5 or 6 shows. That's $500 or $600. If you're flying from Austin or Phoenix or LA, that's going to be at best fucking $400 round trip flight. So you'll make $200.
Literally. That's what you make
for the weekend.
You make that much, and then you have to eat while you're there. Yeah, and you're lucky if they put you up. Sometimes they don't even want to put you up, or they'll put you in a shady condo. And a lot of people are like, how come there's not a lot of female headliners? And well, most of the women are not not crazy enough to do what I did and go into debt. And also, it's dangerous. Like, they'll put you in condos that you don't know how many people have had access to before you, could have copies of keys where the doors don't lock properly. I've stayed in condos
I've stayed in condos
the sliding doors are fucking wide open.
I've stayed in condos where I was sketched out.
Of course.
I've stayed in condos where I put shit in front of the door.
So have I,
to barricade the door in.
Or motels, the club will be cheap and put you in a dirty motel where your door faces out to the parking lot. And you go through all these hoops for 10 years just to get where we are. And
and
the least you can do is fucking throw them some scratch.
I don't think I'm,
it's dangerous.
Suggesting something like socialist and totally crazy to do. It's like, pay the people at this point. It is reasonable to ask for this raise. The other thing, the last point I'll make about it is that the trend, comedy's so hot right now that the current trend for new clubs is bigger. So it's more seats. It's expansion. New clubs opening all over the country are 400 and 500 and 600 seats. That's essentially a small theater. And when even if they have an act who doesn't sell, if you're able to give away 500 seats and that many people come and they have to do the 2-drink minimum, you're talking about per show, even on free tickets, that club is now generating an extra $4,000 or $5,000 in revenue per show than they would if they had a 280, 300 seat club. So over the course of a 5 or 6 show weekend, you're talking about an extra $25,000 plus in revenue. And they're like, you get $50 a show.
It's preposterous.
It is at this point. I mean, I think it's gross. And I'm not saying it to shit on clubs. Clubs are the foundation of stand-up. I love clubs. I've worked clubs my entire career, but I think at this point it's you got to at a certain point go it's the right thing to do. It is the right thing to do, and I hope they understand that this is it's totally
elementary.
It's elementary.
It is.
So,
but maybe that's what separates normal people from comedians is your willingness to suffer.
Yeah.
For 10 years being broke and being treated like shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty inspiring.
All right. Hello, and thank you for watching that highlight. If you want to see more of those, we have them. They're provided for you. So enjoy. Just do a deep dive like you're trying to study us. Click on these and subscribe. Hit the subscribe button, and then they'll just be delivered to you. You can watch them when they come out. Please do it.